Welcome back to SwitchCorner. It's volume 4 of our Hidden Gems series. You're going to find this here at SwitchCorner every single Tuesday, and the idea is simple. I'll give you 5 games each week that you should absolutely just consider adding to your library, or at the very least, just put them on the wish list for the next time they hit a sale. With these games though, I'm going to give you an idea of basically like what to expect, who it should appeal to, and then why I just personally enjoyed them. So with that, look, hit subscribe if you love the Switch, as much as we all do here. Join our growing family. We're quickly approaching at this point 10,000 subscribers, so thank you so much, and let's get started. First off then, horror fans, Stories Untold. This one, it's coming from the mighty Devolver Digital, the now in my eyes just like legendary publisher. They brought us the greats like Enter the Gungeon, they brought us Ape Out, and even the recent Carrion. This one though, I gotta say, it seems to have kind of like flown below the radar a little bit. There was like zero to none fanfare surrounding its release, even when it received near critical acclaim. Basically, it absolutely deserves your attention if you like the horror genre. Stories Untold though, it's an anthology of 4 stories with an overarching theme of horror, especially that of like a psychological variety, but then it's also throwing in a dash of mystery, a whole lot of like science fiction, and if you haven't noticed already, a whole lot of like 80s retro style. Yes, it's for sure got that kind of like Stranger Things vibe, and in fact the artwork for the game, it was created by the very same artist, Kyle Lambert. Gameplay though with this one, it covers a few different formats thanks to it, containing like 4 separate stories almost. It's everything from text-based adventure to operating radio systems to conducting experiments. It's not particularly like heavy on the gameplay front as such. I'd call it more of an interactive experience more than anything, but that doesn't stop it from being really good. The only thing I will say is it was designed for keyboard and mouse, and it works fine, but you will for sure notice that. Stories Untold's biggest success though is its unnerving sense of dread that it creates, that feeling that there's something out there, but it's just, far enough away that you can't quite see it. It sends that shiver down your spine on multiple occasions. I love this game though. It's combining this 80s style with like modern visuals, and then mixing it all up with a lot of like retro gameplay mechanics and puzzles to solve. It's not the longest experience, I'd say like maybe 2 to 3 hours, but what a ride it is. And to top it all off, one of the best like synthwave soundtracks I've heard in a long time that you can check out here on YouTube. Even if you don't get the game, in fact, trust me, just go listen to it. Next up then, we've got River City Girls. While I will say side-scrolling brawlers are kind of like all the rage right now, and this is definitely one of the bigger like names, this one I think the price point puts people off, and I'm here to tell you, don't worry, it's absolutely worth every single bit of the asking price. Coming from WayForward, the geniuses behind Shantae though, this takes the formula we know and love, but throws in just a ton of content to keep you entertained. I'd say the average brawler, I think it's fair to say, lasts a few hours. This one you're looking at anywhere from like 8 hours to 15, depending on if you have that like completionist side to you. In this one though, we switch out the typical River City heroes for the girlfriends Kyoko and Masako, as their boyfriends Kunio and Ricky, they found themselves captured and in need of some assistance. That's where you come in as the girls. What this means though is prepare to take down some foes in single player or local co-op action. River City Girls overall just screams quality, from its tight controls to these extremely clean 16-bit visuals, and then the story as well is presented like lovingly in a really nice manga style. To round the package out though then too, it even throws in some like light RPG mechanics like items you can purchase, new skills that can be learned, there's different paths to unlock, and then of course there's a whole lot of like weapons to leverage. This is an easy one to bundle in with, let's say, the typical brawlers out there, but this actually brings a whole lot more to the table than many realise, and I'm a big fan of this one. It is absolutely just well worth it. Alright, so shooter fans, Graceful Explosion Machine. This is for sure an older release now at this point, but no less worth your time. Essentially what we get here is a horizontal shooter, but instead of like long winding paths, we get arenas, meaning you'll actually be flying left and right, taking down like wave upon wave of enemies. The reason I actually picked this one up at release was thanks to a number of like reviews calling out its use of HD Rumble. It was something I wanted to experience, and at the time in 2017, I gotta say it didn't disappoint. disappoint. With over 30 levels though, score attack mode, tons of weapons to experiment with, and combos to perfect, there's a lot to like here. If anything though, for me, it's gotta be the retina burning visuals that are just vivid and do a perfect job of like communicating everything the player needs to know. This one, it's a great game for those, you know, quick pick up and play moments, but like any good like addictive gameplay loop, it's one of those ones that you may intend to spend 5 minutes with, but before you know it, hours have passed. Really like this one, and if you want to try it before you buy it, there is a demo available on the eShop, so why not at least check that out, see if it's for you. So our penultimate game of the week then, and it's a more recent release this one, or at least at time of recording this, but Murdered by Numbers. This one, I'll put it out there now, it's an acquired taste if ever there was one. It's combining visual novel investigation elements, so think like your Phoenix Wrights and AIs of the world, with nonograms or Picross puzzles. Nonograms basically use numbers at the side of a grid to determine which squares you need to choose, and it ends up revealing an image. But like I said, that's for sure an acquired taste. Where I really enjoyed this one though, it was in its storytelling. Sure, you know, it's not the deepest or anything, but it knew how to just kind of have fun with it, and that's what I want from something like this. That's why I love games like Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney. Here's the idea though, you play as an actress on a like hit TV detective show who has sadly been fired. Moments later though, after you've just been fired, you hear screams and the showrunner ends up, well, all sorts of dead. He's been murdered. Now you are a suspect and you must clear your name, all while being helped by a reconnaissance robot known as Scout. Completely out there, but it is a really likeable cast. The 90s setting leads to some fun visuals, especially in the fashion department, and the soundtrack then, it's just top-notch stuff as it's coming from the same composer as Phoenix Wright, Beautiful Joe and Vanquish, the latter two of which I'm adding now. I really want to see them join the Switch family. Murdered by Numbers though, overall is a game that caught me off guard. I didn't expect much from it, and I loved absolutely every second of it. Okay, so the last game of the week, and I'm keeping the real weird to close out here. Animal Super Squad, a game where you take control of an animal of your choice and you basically guide them from the start of a track to the finish in this, what I'd call like physics-based racer. It's basically taking influence from games like, you know, Trials. I'll tell you now though, I was absolutely ready to hate this one. It was coming from a partnership between the developers of Goat Simulator and Pewdiepie. I didn't exactly expect a lot, and well, yeah, they for sure surprised me with this one. Not only are the physics and gameplay here solid, but it's all wrapped up in a really nice little package. Expect to be navigating track after track and using all sorts of like different vehicles, from toilets with wheels to those of the flying variety, and it's really addictive as well as just challenging. I love a good physics sim personally, and this one not only has that in the gameplay department, but it brings across this really like solid and very strange sense of humour. Perhaps though what's most impressive with this one, it's the level creator, where the community can basically jump in, build their own tracks and share them with you, you know, go crazy, experiment. It's an older game now, but there's an absolute ton of community created content out there, and just overall, look, with this one, call me seriously impressed. Even the cartoon visuals for this one just worked for me, and yeah, Pewdiepie did good with this one. Do not let his name being attached put you off. However, don't play his more recent release, Pewdiepie. That one was absolutely awful. And that's it, look, another week down. Have you played any of these before, or will you be buying any, or just even adding them to your wish list? As always then, like, a shout out to the patrons of the channel who are just going above and beyond to support SwitchCorner. It means a whole lot to me, so thank you all so much. If you do want to check that out for yourself, I have linked it in the description below. Now before we end this too, if you haven't watched volumes 1 through 3 of this Hidden Gem series, then why not binge them now? I've put them all in a quick playlist for you to enjoy. With that, look, anyway, hit subscribe if you love the Switch as much as we all do here. Join our growing family, and I'll see you all on the next video. Thanks everyone.